The city floated in the stars like a jewel. Towers of shining metal and crystal reached toward the endless black sky, reflecting the light of distant suns. The streets hummed with quiet energy, and elegant ships drifted between buildings as if they were swimming through space. This was the home of Lady Virelia, one of the wealthiest and most respected aliens in the galaxy. Her family's influence spread across star systems, and their name was known wherever trade, science, and politics mattered. Lady Virelia was preparing for the evening's grand gala. She moved gracefully through her private quarters, her long robes shimmering like the surface of a distant star. Every movement she made spoke of authority and refinement. Her staff hovered respectfully, adjusting lights, fabrics, and ornaments, but none dared to speak unless spoken to. Her thoughts, however, were not on the gala. They were on her daughter, Lyra. Lyra had always been delicate. From birth, she had been quiet and thoughtful, often lost in books, simulations, or the music of alien instruments. But most importantly, Lyra carried a rare medical condition that made her infertile, according to the best doctors of their city. Lady Virelia had never expected her daughter to have children. She had accepted it with the same calm certainty she applied to all matters of family legacy. "Mother," Lyra said, stepping into the room, her soft voice breaking Lady Virelia's thoughts. "I am ready for the gala." Lyra was unlike anyone else in the city. Her skin had a faint silver sheen, and her eyes reflected the light in ways that made it hard to tell where the iris ended and the pupil began. She carried herself with a quiet confidence, but unlike her mother, her elegance did not command attention. It invited it. "You look well," Lady Virelia said, studying her daughter. "Are you sure you are ready? The council will ask many questions tonight." Lyra smiled gently. "I am ready, Mother. Do not worry." Lady Virelia nodded but did not speak. Something felt different about tonight, though she could not put her claw on it. Before the gala, the family had scheduled a routine medical checkup. It was not unusual. Their physicians always insisted on regular scans for the elite members of the family. Lyra went through the process without complaint, standing still as medical devices floated around her, scanning her body with soft beams of light. The chief physician, Dr. Rillin, a serious and precise alien, was reviewing the results when his tentacles froze in midair. He stared at the floating screen as though he could not believe what he saw. "Doctor?" Lyra asked, noticing his hesitation. Dr. Rillin cleared his throat. "Lyra, this cannot be." Lyra frowned. "What cannot be?" Dr. Rillin's tentacles hovered over the screen and his voice dropped to a whisper. "You are pregnant." Lyra blinked, processing the words. "Pregnant?" she repeated. Her mind raced. This was impossible. She had always been told she could never carry a child. The condition that made her infertile had been verified countless times by the most advanced medical technology in the galaxy. "Yes," Dr. Rillin said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Our tests. They are correct. You are pregnant. I do not know how, but it is undeniable." Lady Virelia, who had been observing from the doorway, gasped. The hand she raised to her chest trembled. "Impossible," she exclaimed. "Lyra, this cannot happen. You are infertile." "How could this be?" Lyra looked at her mother, calm but firm. "I do not know, Mother. But it is true." The doctor hesitated. "Perhaps there is an explanation we have not considered. Advanced genetic anomalies, unknown influences." Or he stopped. "Or what?" Lady Virelia demanded, her voice trembling with both fear and anger. "Or someone from outside the city," Dr. Rillin said cautiously. "Someone human," Lady Virelia froze. Human? The word alone made her skin crawl. Humans were fragile, unpredictable, and not part of her world. They were allowed in her city only under strict supervision, usually for trade or technical projects. Lyra nodded slightly. "It is him," she said quietly. "Kieran, the human engineer who helped with the energy grids last month." Lady Virelia stared at her daughter in disbelief. "The human?" she repeated, her voice cracking. You mean a human caused this?" Lyra's gaze was calm. "Mother, Kieran did not cause anything. He is clever, kind, and brave. He did not try to do anything improper. He helped, and we grew close." Lady Virelia could not speak. Her mind raced through 1,000 thoughts. What this meant for the family's reputation, for their place in the council, for their influence across the galaxy. A human in her family? And now a human would be the father of her grandchild? Mother, Lyra said softly, he is not dangerous. He is extraordinary. Please try to see him as I do. Lady Verelia shook her head, trying to regain control over herself. She turned toward the doctor. Relin, how sure are you? Dr. Relin's tentacles quivered slightly. I have rechecked the scans multiple times. Every test confirms it. Lyra is pregnant. I do not know how, but the data is correct. Lady Verelia's mind reeled. She had always believed in logic, in control, in the perfection of their society. Humans had always seemed chaotic, too simple, too unpredictable. And yet, here was proof that one had entered her daughter's life and left a mark deeper than she could understand. Lyra stepped closer to her mother. I know this is shocking, Mother. I expected you to be angry, maybe even disappointed. But I am asking, please try to understand. Kieran is not like the humans you have known. He is different. Lady Verelia's eyes narrowed, but she did not speak. She could see it in her daughter's calm expression. Lyra had made her choice, and it was not one she could easily undo. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. The gala proceeded as planned, but Lady Verelia could hardly focus. Her mind kept returning to the news. The guests mingled, spoke of trade deals and political influence, but in her mind, she kept seeing the image of a human man, smiling, confident and holding her daughter's hand. Lyra, meanwhile, moved through the gala gracefully. She spoke to the guests with poise, her secret known only to her family. She did not appear nervous or afraid. Inside, she felt a small sense of pride. She had chosen the path of trust and courage, even knowing the scandal it might bring. During the gala, Lady Verelia found a quiet moment on the balcony, looking out at the glittering city. Her mind was still filled with questions. How could a human, a fragile and unpredictable species, have impacted her family in such a profound way? And more importantly, how could she accept it? The stars shimmered in the distance, and she thought of the legacy of her family, of the power and influence they had cultivated over centuries. And yet, something about the human presence in Lyra's life stirred something unexpected within her, a curiosity she had never felt before. That night, as the city slept, Lady Verelia made a decision. She would watch carefully, quietly. She would observe this human, learn what he was capable of, and perhaps understand why her daughter had been drawn to him. But one thing was certain. Nothing in her carefully controlled world would ever be the same again. Lyra, meanwhile, retired to her private chambers with a sense of calm satisfaction. She knew the road ahead would be difficult, but she also knew that courage, honesty, and trust could overcome even the strictest rules of alien society. The discovery of her pregnancy had shocked her mother, challenged the council, and questioned centuries of tradition. But it had also opened a new path, one that might change everything, and so the stage was set. The daughter who was told she could never have children was carrying a secret that could change the galaxy. The human who had entered their world so briefly might leave a permanent mark. And Lady Verelia, wealthy, powerful, and precise, was about to face a challenge unlike any she had known before, a test of heart, courage, and understanding. The stars outside twinkled as if watching silently, and in the quiet of her chambers, Lyra whispered to herself, "We will show them. Humans are more than they think." The next morning, the city was alive with the usual hum of activity. Elegant ships glided silently between the towers, and streets sparkled under the light of distant suns. Lady Verelia walked through her estate's gardens, her mind heavy with thoughts of her daughter and the unexpected news. She had spent the night thinking, questioning, and trying to reconcile what she had learned. Lyra was pregnant, and the father was a human. Humans had always been regarded as fragile and unpredictable. In her society, they were respected for their ingenuity, but they had never been considered equals. Lady Verelia had studied humans academically but never personally interacted with one. Until now. Her thoughts returned to the human named Kieran. She remembered the brief moments when he had come to their city, working on the advanced energy grids. He had moved with confidence, yet with humility. He had solved problems that the city's best engineers struggled with for weeks, and he had done so without arrogance or desire for recognition. A soft sound behind her drew her attention. Lyra was approaching, walking through the garden with quiet grace. She had already changed from her gala attire into something simpler, more practical but still elegant. Her silver eyes seemed to glow slightly in the morning light. "Mother," Lyra said softly, "I see you are awake." Lady Virilia turned, her expression still guarded. "I have been awake all night, Lyra, thinking." Lyra stopped a few steps away. "I expected that. I know this news is hard to accept." "Hard to accept?" Lady Virilia repeated, her voice rising slightly. "It is impossible. You are pregnant, and by a human. Lyra, do you understand what this means?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, Mother. I understand. But I also know that Kieran is not like the humans you have imagined. He is different. He is clever, brave, and honest. He respects me, and he respects our people." Lady Virilia's eyes narrowed. "Different? Do you think that changes anything? Our family's name, our reputation, and everything we have built?" Lyra took a deep breath. "I believe it can change things, but for the better. Humans see the world differently, Mother. They find solutions in ways our people might never imagine. Kieran is proof of that." Lady Virilia studied her daughter carefully. She had always admired Lyra's calmness and intelligence, but this was different. Lyra's choice challenged not only tradition, but also the very expectations of their society. Yet there was something in her confidence that made Lady Virilia pause. "Very well," Lady Virilia said finally, her voice softer. "Then tell me about him. How did this human come into your life?" Lyra smiled faintly. "It was during the energy project last month. The city's grid had begun failing in several districts. The council called for the best engineers from across the systems to come and help. Kieran arrived as a consultant and, well, he approached the problem differently than anyone else." Lady Virilia raised an eyebrow. "Differently?" "Yes," Lyra said. "He studied the system carefully. He observed patterns that others ignored. Then he designed a solution that was elegant and simple. It worked immediately. The council was surprised, and so was everyone else, including me." Lady Virilia's eyes narrowed. She had expected humans to struggle, to fail, or at least require guidance. Instead, this one had excelled in ways her people rarely saw. Lyra continued, her voice gentle. "After the work was done, he did not leave immediately. He stayed to ensure everything ran smoothly. During that time, we talked about the city, the stars, our ideas, and our dreams. I began to see him not as a human, but as a person who shared my values and my curiosity." Lady Virilia listened silently. She could see the sincerity in her daughter's eyes. Lyra was not naive. She had always been cautious, wise beyond her years. If she said this human was extraordinary, then perhaps he truly was. "And you trusted him?" Lady Virilia asked, her voice low. Lyra nodded. "I did. I trusted him with my thoughts, my plans, and with myself." Lady Virilia took a step back. The world she had controlled so carefully suddenly felt unpredictable. A human, a species she had always viewed as secondary, had not only entered her daughter's life, but had done so in a way that could not be ignored. "You must show me this human," Lady Virilia said finally. "If he is to be part of your life, I must understand him for myself." Lyra smiled. "I anticipated that. He is in the city today, working on another project. I can arrange for you to meet him, Mother. I think you will see why we trusted him." Lady Virilia nodded slowly. "Arrange it. I will meet this human, and I will judge him. Carefully." The day passed slowly. Lady Virilia could not focus on anything else. The image of a human man, tall, confident, yet unassuming, haunted her thoughts. How could someone so simple in her eyes have influenced her daughter so deeply? Finally, as the afternoon suns began to fade, Lyra guided her mother to a spacious observation room. From the high windows, the city stretched in all directions, a maze of light, metal, and energy. And there, in the center of a platform where engineers worked, stood Kieran, He was adjusting a panel of the energy grid, moving with steady, precise motions. He did not notice them at first, completely absorbed in his work. Lady Virelia studied him carefully. He was not like the humans she had read about or seen in documentaries. He seemed confident but not arrogant, capable but not boastful. There was a calm intelligence in the way he moved and worked. Lyra took a step closer to her mother. "Watch him, Mother. See how he solves problems. See how he treats others," Lady Virelia observed silently. She noticed how Kieran explained ideas clearly to other engineers, how he listened carefully, how he adjusted his plans based on input from anyone, alien or human, without anger or frustration. He was extraordinary. Finally, Lyra spoke softly. "This is the human who touched my life, the one who changed everything for me." Lady Virelia felt a strange emotion she had not expected. Curiosity. She had always thought humans were fragile, incapable of deep thought or courage. But this one, he was different. And perhaps she realized her daughter had seen qualities in him that her people had ignored for centuries. "Mother," Lyra said, sensing her thoughts, "I know this is hard to accept, but he is not dangerous. He is reliable and he is kind. He has never given me reason to doubt him." Lady Virelia took a deep breath. She wanted to resist, to insist that her daughter abandon this human, that the family's reputation come first. But as she watched Kieran, she began to understand that he represented something her society had rarely seen: courage, ingenuity, and heart. The rest of the day passed in quiet observation. Lady Virelia asked Lyra questions about Kieran, about his background, about his values. Lyra answered openly without hesitation or fear. She spoke of his bravery, his honesty, and his willingness to help others, even when it required personal risk. By evening, Lady Virelia had reached a tentative understanding. This human, though fragile in appearance, possessed qualities that were rare even among her own people. He had earned her respect, though she did not yet admit it aloud. As the stars began to shine once more over the city, Lyra and her mother walked through the gardens in silence. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of alien flowers. Lady Virelia finally spoke. "Perhaps he is different," she said slowly. "Perhaps he has qualities we have ignored. But you must understand, Lyra, this will not be easy. Our society, the council, they may not accept this easily." Lyra nodded. "I know, Mother. But if we face it with honesty, courage, and trust, we can show them that humans are more than they believe." Lady Virelia remained quiet, lost in thought. She was beginning to see that perhaps this human, Kieran, was not a threat, but a bridge. A bridge between their rigid traditions and a new way of seeing the galaxy. And as night fell, the city glittering beneath the stars, Lady Virelia realized that the human her daughter trusted might not only change Lyra's life, but could also change the course of their family, and perhaps even the future of their society. Lyra, walking beside her mother, felt a quiet sense of hope. The human who had come into her life had already done more than anyone could imagine, and together, they were about to show a world of aliens and humans alike that courage, intelligence, and heart could cross any boundary, even those set by centuries of tradition. The stars above shone like silent witnesses, and in the quiet of the night a new chapter began, a chapter that would test the strength of trust, the power of human ingenuity, and the bonds of family in ways no one had expected. The city was alive with movement and light. Flying vehicles wove between towering buildings, and streams of energy illuminated the streets like rivers of fire. Lady Virelia moved through her estate with purpose, her mind tangled in questions she could not easily answer. Her daughter, Lyra, was pregnant. By a human. And though the human seemed extraordinary, the council and society would not see it that way. Lady Virelia's thoughts were interrupted by a soft knock on the door. It was Lyra, carrying a small device in her hands. "Mother," she said gently, "I have arranged something. The council will be discussing the energy project soon, and Kieran will be present. I thought it best for you to observe him." Lady Veralia took a deep breath. She had already watched Kieran at work and had seen the intelligence, calmness, and courage he possessed. But now, she needed to see him face the council, to see if he could handle the scrutiny of her world. The council chamber was a vast space, circular in design, with platforms rising in concentric rings. Holographic displays projected complex energy, schematics, showing the current state of the city's grids. Dozens of council members, all elite aliens with long robes and serious expressions, were already seated. Their eyes turned toward Kieran as he entered. He moved calmly, without fear, his posture confident, but not arrogant. Lady Veralia observed closely. She had seen many humans before, most of them awkward and nervous, but Kieran, he moved like someone who belonged here, as if he had already earned respect. One of the senior council members, a tall alien with shimmering blue skin, leaned forward. "Kieran, you claim to have improved the energy grids of our city. Explain how a human without our advanced training could manage this." Kieran bowed slightly. "I observed patterns in the grid that were not obvious. By adjusting the flow and integrating small redundancies, I was able to stabilize the system quickly. It required creativity, careful study, and trust in the engineers assisting me." Murmurs filled the chamber. Some council members looked impressed, while others whispered in disbelief. Lady Veralia noticed that even the most critical of her peers could not deny Kieran's skill. "Humans are fragile," another council member said, his voice skeptical. "How can we trust one with such responsibility?" Lyra stepped forward, her eyes shining. "This human has earned trust through his actions. He has risked his own safety to ensure the city's well-being. He respects our rules, listens carefully, and thinks clearly. If we dismiss him without understanding, we might lose more than we gain." Lady Veralia watched her daughter speak and felt a mixture of pride and apprehension. Lyra was wise and courageous, but this was no small matter. Introducing a human to their elite circle, especially in such a visible way, could cause scandal. Yet Lyra's words carried truth that even Lady Veralia could not deny. Kieran spoke next, calmly addressing the council. "I do not seek recognition or reward. My goal is to help this city, to use what I have learned to make things better for everyone here. I hope to work alongside your engineers and share knowledge that can improve the lives of your citizens." The council members exchanged glances. Some were impressed by his humility and clarity. Others seemed suspicious, unwilling to accept the idea that a human could be so capable. Lady Veralia noted the tension and realized that this was only the beginning of a much larger challenge. After the council meeting, Lady Veralia led Lyra and Kieran through a quiet corridor. "I must admit," she said slowly, "you are unlike any human I have encountered. But there is more to this than skill. My concern is the society, the council, our people. They will not accept this lightly." Kieran nodded. "I understand, Lady Veralia. I do not seek to replace your traditions or disrupt your society. I only wish to contribute where I can and support Lyra." Lady Veralia studied him carefully. His honesty was evident, and his respect for her and her family was clear. She found herself beginning to trust him, though she would not say so aloud. Meanwhile, the city was abuzz with rumors. Word of Lyra's pregnancy had leaked, and whispers spread quickly through elite circles. Many questioned the propriety of a human being involved with one of their own. Others, quietly, admired the courage of both Lyra and Kieran. They wondered if perhaps humans, despite their fragility, could bring new ideas and solutions to their rigid society. Lady Veralia spent the following days observing Kieran closely. She watched how he treated the city's citizens, how he solved complex problems, and how he interacted with Lyra. Each day, her initial skepticism softened slightly. She began to see that humans could indeed possess qualities rare even among her own kind: courage, ingenuity, and loyalty. Lyra, meanwhile, continued her studies and responsibilities. She remained calm about her pregnancy, showing no fear. Her confidence impressed even those who had doubted her. She spoke to engineers and council members alike, showing that she and Kieran worked as a team. The bond between them became evident to everyone, and slowly, Respect for the human grew. Yet not all was calm. Some council members, unable to accept the human, began to plot ways to challenge him. They whispered of rules and traditions, of the dangers of allowing outsiders to influence elite families. Lady Virelia knew she had to act carefully. If the council turned against Kieran, it could cause chaos, not only for Lyra, but for the entire city. One evening, Lady Virelia called Lyra to her chambers. "We must be cautious," she said. "The council is divided. Some admire him, yes, but others, they see a threat. You must understand the risks you are taking." Lyra nodded. "I do, Mother, but I believe in Kieran. He has proven his value, his courage, and his integrity. I will face whatever comes, knowing he will stand with me." Lady Virelia sighed. She had always taught Lyra to value intelligence and careful planning, yet her daughter's faith in a human's abilities was something new. It was uncomfortable, but also inspiring. Perhaps humans had qualities her own people often overlooked. The days that followed were filled with preparation. Kieran continued his work on the energy grids, showing remarkable skill and creativity. Lyra supported him, providing insights that only someone familiar with the city's systems could offer. And Lady Virelia, while still cautious, began to see that perhaps humans could be more than she had imagined. One afternoon, as they observed the city from the estate's high balcony, Lady Virelia spoke softly. "I see now that perhaps I underestimated humans. This one at least has shown courage and intelligence that rivals our best engineers." Lyra smiled. "I have always believed that humans are capable of great things, Mother, and Kieran, he is exceptional even among them." Lady Virelia nodded slowly. She still had concerns, still had to navigate the council's politics. But she could no longer deny the truth she had seen with her own eyes. Humans, when given respect and responsibility, could achieve remarkable things. And perhaps, she thought, this human's influence might not be a threat, it might be the beginning of something new. That night the city glittered under the stars, a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the endless possibilities it held. Lady Virelia walked through her chambers in quiet contemplation. She had always believed in control, in tradition, and in the predictable path of her family. Yet now she faced the unexpected, a human, her daughter's choice, and a future that was uncertain. And yet, she felt a spark of hope. Perhaps this challenge was not a threat, but an opportunity. Perhaps humans, despite their fragility, could bring courage, ingenuity, and heart into her carefully structured world. Lyra, resting in her chambers, whispered softly to herself, "We will show them. Humans can make a difference, and together, we can face whatever comes." The stars outside shone brightly, as if signaling that a new chapter was beginning. The human who had entered their city so quietly was now at the center of a story that would test tradition, courage, and trust. And the family that had long ruled with certainty was about to learn that even the smallest spark of change could ignite a galaxy of possibilities. The council chamber buzzed with tension. The room was filled with the elite of the city, their eyes sharp and critical, their robes gleaming under the soft light of suspended energy panels. Today was not about energy grids or technology. It was about Lyra, her pregnancy, and the human who had entered their lives. Lady Virelia sat quietly in the chamber, her posture perfect, her gaze calm but unyielding. She had spent days considering what to say and how to act. Her heart was still a storm of conflicting emotions: shock, curiosity, caution, and a surprising threat of respect for Kieran. But the council would not care about respect. They would care about tradition, reputation, and rules. Lyra entered the chamber with Kieran beside her. Her silver eyes shone with determination, and her calm presence immediately drew the council's attention. Kieran, tall and composed, walked confidently, his human appearance standing out among the aliens. Yet there was no fear in his gaze, only clarity and purpose. The head of the council, a tall alien with skin like molten silver, leaned forward. "Lyra Virelia," he said, his voice cold and precise. "You claim to have formed a connection with a human, and now you carry his offspring?" Lyra nodded, her expression steady. Yes, I do. And I ask for your understanding, not your immediate approval. I believe in honesty, courage, and mutual respect. A ripple of murmurs ran through the chamber. Some council members whispered in disapproval, while others leaned closer, curiosity overtaking skepticism. Humans were not unknown, but for one to be so deeply connected with an elite family, this was unprecedented. The council head's gaze turned to Kieran. "Human," he said, his tone sharp. "You claim to respect our ways. Yet you have entered the life of our elite family without permission. How do you justify this?" Kieran straightened, his voice calm but firm. "I entered no one's life without respect or consent. Lyra and I have formed a bond based on trust, understanding, and shared goals. I do not seek power, status, or recognition. I only wish to help where I can and honor the trust placed in me." Another council member, her eyes narrow and skeptical, spoke next. "And yet you are fragile. Your species is untested in many ways. How can we trust you with the future of our family and our city?" Kieran met her gaze steadily. Strength is not only measured in physical ability or tradition. It is measured in courage, loyalty, intelligence, and the willingness to act for the greater good. I have shown my abilities and my intentions. I hope my actions speak louder than my species. Lady Veralia watched silently, her heart unexpectedly swelling with pride. Kieran's words were measured, respectful, and true. He was not trying to impress the council with empty claims. He was demonstrating honesty and integrity, the qualities her family had valued for generations. Lyra stepped closer to the council, her voice carrying clearly. "You judge humans by what you expect from them, not what they can be. Kieran has proven his ingenuity, his bravery, and his respect for life. To dismiss him because of his species is unfair. I ask you to see him as I do, as someone capable, honorable, and trustworthy." A long silence filled the chamber. The council members exchanged cautious glances. Some were clearly moved by Lyra's words. Others looked uncomfortable, unwilling to accept the challenge to their long-held beliefs. Finally, the council head spoke. "Lady Veralia, you have watched this human closely. What is your judgment?" Lady Veralia rose, her presence commanding immediate attention. "I have watched him," she said slowly, choosing each word carefully. "I have observed his actions, his respect for life, and his intelligence. He has risked himself to protect this city. He has shown courage that many of our own have not displayed. Though he is human, he has qualities we should honor and recognize." A murmur ran through the chamber. Some council members shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded slightly, acknowledging her words. Lady Veralia continued, her gaze meeting Kieran's and then Lyra's. "Humans are often underestimated," she said. "They are fragile by our standards, yet capable of great feats. This human, Kieran, has earned my respect. He has also earned my trust. If he can demonstrate these qualities to me, then perhaps he can demonstrate them to all of you." One council member stood abruptly. "And if he fails? What if the human cannot meet the standards we require?" Lady Verelia's eyes hardened. "Then he will face the consequences, as anyone would. But judging a being before they have the chance to prove themselves is not wisdom. It is fear." The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Kieran's calm presence seemed to steady the room. He did not speak, for he did not need to. His actions, his demeanor, and Lyra's confidence were proof enough of his character. The council head finally nodded. "Very well. We shall observe him. We shall test his abilities and intentions. But know this, the future of your family, Lyra, and the city will be scrutinized. We will not tolerate failure or dishonor." Lyra bowed slightly. "I understand. I am prepared to face the council's judgment, and I trust Kieran will do the same." After the formal council meeting, Lady Veralia led her daughter and Kieran to a quiet terrace overlooking the city. The lights of the towers reflected off the surface of the water channels below, casting a shimmering glow. "You did well," Lady Veralia said quietly. "You faced them with honesty and courage. I am impressed." Kieran inclined his head respectfully. "Thank you, Lady Veralia. I only acted with respect for Lyra and her family." Lady Verelia's expression softened. "I see now that perhaps humans are capable of more than I ever imagined. You have shown courage, intelligence, and loyalty, qualities my people value above all else." Lyra smiled, sensing her mother's shift in perspective. "I am glad you see it, Mother. Kieran is more than you expected, but so is the bond we share. It is built on trust, understanding, and shared purpose." Lady Veralia nodded slowly, Trust, yes, that is what we must remember. Without it, even the most brilliant minds can fail. You have reminded me that courage and integrity can come from anywhere, even from those we least expect. The days that followed were filled with observation and quiet preparation. The council sent Kieran tasks to test his skills further. Each time he succeeded, often finding solutions that astonished even the most seasoned engineers. His ingenuity and bravery were undeniable. Lyra supported him quietly, offering guidance and insight without overshadowing his work. Their teamwork became a model for collaboration, showing that humans and aliens could achieve remarkable results when they trusted each other. Meanwhile, Lady Virelia watched carefully. She continued to navigate the politics of the council, ensuring that no one could unfairly target Kieran or her daughter. She began to understand that courage and intelligence were not limited by species, and that humans could indeed contribute in ways her society had never imagined. One evening, as the stars shimmered over the city, Lady Virelia and Lyra walked through the estate gardens. The air was cool and fragrant, carrying the scent of alien blossoms. "You have done well, Lyra," Lady Virelia said softly. "You have faced tradition, skepticism, and fear, and you have remained calm and honest. I am proud of you," Lyra smiled gently. "Thank you, Mother. I could not have done it without Kieran's support. He has shown courage, wisdom, and integrity at every step." Lady Virelia nodded, feeling a rare warmth in her heart. "He has indeed. Perhaps this is the lesson we needed. Sometimes, the greatest strength comes from those we least expect, and sometimes trust and courage can change even the most rigid minds." Lyra's silver eyes sparkled. "Yes, Mother, and together we will face whatever comes. Humans may be different, but their hearts, minds, and courage are remarkable. I have learned that firsthand." Lady Virelia remained silent for a moment, gazing at the stars above. She realized that her world, once so controlled and predictable, was changing. The human had not only entered her daughter's life, but had also shown her that strength and wisdom could exist beyond the boundaries of tradition. And as the city slept beneath the stars, a new understanding began to take root, a recognition that courage, intelligence, and trust could bridge even the widest gaps between species, and that the future might hold possibilities far beyond what anyone had imagined. The city had never felt more alive. Lights sparkled across the towering spires, ships moved gracefully between buildings, and the hum of energy flowed through every street. But for Lady Virelia, Lyra, and Kieran, the world had changed in ways no one else yet fully understood. After weeks of council observation, tasks, and tests, Kieran had proven himself time and again. His intelligence, courage, and unwavering integrity had earned the respect of even the most skeptical council members. And while some still questioned the human's presence, none could deny the results of his work and the positive influence he had on the city. Lady Virelia walked through the family estate, her thoughts focused on the future. She had spent countless hours reflecting on what she had seen. Kieran was not only capable, he was exceptional. But more than that, he had shown qualities that her people had long admired but rarely recognized in outsiders: honesty, bravery, and the willingness to act for the greater good. Lyra approached, her silver eyes shining. "Mother," she said softly, "the council has agreed to formally recognize Kieran's contributions. They acknowledge his courage and his loyalty. They even admit he has earned our respect." Lady Virelia allowed herself a small smile. "It was not easy for them or for me to see it, but yes, he has proven himself beyond question." Kieran, standing nearby, bowed slightly to Lady Virelia. "Thank you for your trust, Lady Virelia. I only wished to do what was right." Lady Virelia studied him closely. "You have done more than what is right. You have shown us that humans, when given trust and opportunity, can achieve remarkable things. You have reminded me that courage and integrity are not limited to any one species." Lyra took Kieran's hand, and together they turned to Lady Virelia. "Mother," Lyra said gently, "this is more than recognition of his work. It is the beginning of understanding between species, between people. Kieran has shown that humans can be trusted, that they can contribute in ways we never imagined." Lady Virelia nodded, feeling a sense of pride and hope she had not felt before. She realized that her daughter's faith in Kieran had not been misplaced, and she saw now that humans, despite their fragility, possessed qualities that could enrich their world, their society, and even their legacy. The council gathered once more in the grand chamber, this time for a ceremony of recognition. Kieran was formally acknowledged for his contributions to the city, his ingenuity and his courage. Lyra stood proudly beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm, showing the unity and trust between them. The head of the council addressed the assembly. We have observed, tested, and learned. This human Kieran has shown intelligence, courage, and loyalty that rival our finest. He has proven that merit is not limited to species or tradition. Let this day be a reminder that the future belongs to those who act with integrity, creativity, and heart. Applause filled the chamber. Even those who had doubted Kieran could not resist acknowledging his accomplishments. Lady Virelia watched with quiet satisfaction. The human had done more than win recognition. He had opened minds, challenged assumptions, and set a precedent for the generations to come. After the ceremony, Lady Virelia invited Kieran and Lyra to walk with her through the gardens. The soft light of distant stars reflected off the water channels, and the air was filled with the fragrance of alien flowers. You have changed much more than the council knows, Lady Virelia said. You have changed me. I now see that courage, intelligence, and integrity can exist in any being, regardless of their origin. And for that, I am grateful. Kieran inclined his head respectfully. Thank you, Lady Virelia. I only acted with honesty and care. Lyra's trust guided me, and I have learned much from both of you. Lyra smiled warmly. Mother, Kieran has shown that humans can be allies, friends, and partners. Our bond has proven that trust and courage can bridge worlds. And now the future feels brighter. Lady Virelia felt a rare sense of calm. She had worried, feared, and doubted, but seeing her daughter happy, seeing Kieran's courage and intelligence, and observing the council's acknowledgement of his contributions, she understood that change was not a threat, it was an opportunity. In the following weeks, life in the city began to shift. The council implemented new programs to collaborate with humans in controlled ways, learning from their ingenuity and perspective. Citizens began to view humans with curiosity and respect, recognizing that courage, honesty, and intelligence were qualities that transcended species. Lyra's pregnancy progressed without complication, and she continued her work and studies with grace. Kieran supported her every step of the way, always respectful, always attentive, always demonstrating the qualities that had earned the family's trust. Lady Virelia, observing them, felt a sense of pride she had never anticipated. Her daughter had chosen courage and trust over fear and tradition, and the results were extraordinary. She realized that humans were not simply fragile beings. They were capable of remarkable achievements, and their hearts and minds held potential that her society had long underestimated. One evening, as the three of them stood together on the estate balcony, the city stretched out beneath them, bathed in the light of distant stars. Mother, Lyra said softly, this city, this council, our society, they are beginning to see what we have known all along. Humans are capable, humans are brave, and together we can face any challenge. Lady Virelia nodded slowly. Yes, Lyra, and you have shown me that courage and trust are stronger than tradition alone. Kieran has proven that a single human can inspire change, strengthen bonds, and earn respect, even in the most rigid circles. Kieran, standing beside them, spoke quietly. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve, to learn, and to prove myself. More importantly, I am grateful for your trust and support. Lyra has guided me, and Lady Virelia, you have allowed me to show what humans can achieve when given a chance. Lady Virelia smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. You have done more than prove yourself, Kieran. You have changed how we see the galaxy, how we see courage, and how we see the future. And for that you have my respect and my gratitude. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the shift that had taken place. The human, once considered fragile and unpredictable, had demonstrated qualities that could inspire generations. The city, the council, and even Lady Virelia herself had begun to embrace a new understanding. That merit, courage, and integrity were not limited by species, and that humanity had a role to play in shaping the galaxy's future. Lyra leaned against Kieran, her silver eyes filled with quiet determination. Mother, the future is ours to shape. Humans, aliens, together, we can achieve far more than we ever imagined. Lady Virelia nodded, feeling a deep sense of hope. Yes, Lyra, and we will do it together. Trust, courage, and integrity will guide us, and the future will be brighter than any of us could have foreseen. As the night stretched across the city, the family stood together, united by trust, courage, and love. The human who had entered their lives so quietly had become a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even the most rigid traditions could be enriched by new perspectives. And as the stars glittered above, the city and its people began a new era, one where humans and aliens could work together, learn from one another, and achieve greatness beyond imagination. And so, the story of Lyra, Kieran, and Lady Verelia came to a turning point. The human had proven himself, the council had acknowledged his worth, and the bonds of trust had reshaped the understanding of an entire society. A new chapter had begun, one that promised courage, innovation, and unity across the galaxy. The stars twinkled silently, and in their quiet glow, the possibilities seemed endless. Lyra whispered softly to Kieran, "We did it, together." Kieran smiled, taking her hand gently. "Yes, together, and this is only the beginning." Lady Verelia watched them, her heart full, and said quietly, "Let the galaxy see that courage and integrity know no bounds. Let it see what humans and all who are brave can achieve." And in that moment, under the vast expanse of the stars, the future of humans and aliens alike seemed brighter, richer, and full of promise.